Hello, hello. Back for another live conversation. I'm super excited about today's topic. Today, we are talking about how to really elevate your coaching brand above all the rest this year. And so, if you're like me, you've probably made some New Year resolutions, and I'm going to tell you one of mine. One of mine is to consume less and share more. I just have noticed that in having my business, social media has become a huge distraction. There's a lot of times where I am literally just aimlessly scrolling and I look up and it's like an hour later and so much time has gone by. And I am just committed to stop aimlessly scrolling and letting social media eat up so much of my time that I could be using in more productive ways in my business. So you probably get where I'm going with this. So, we're going to talk about how to use podcasting as a way to grow your business so that way you don't have to get sucked into the wormhole that is social media. I feel like so many of you all have been looking for this solution because you've probably been a little fed up with social media, all the constant changes with the algorithm, just sometimes not feeling like you have control over the content that you're seeing. And it just can feel like it's a little bit of a value misalignment. There's just a lot going on in terms of social media. And so if you've been looking for your way out, this is it. So let's talk about how to attract your dream clients without having to leverage social media and being able to use podcasts as that avenue for marketing and promoting your business. So, here's the big thing that you want to know when it comes to starting your podcast and creating content that's going to really help you to be able to find your dream clients through your episodes, through your content. Because if you're like me, you're not looking to waste any time. And so you're not here to start a podcast as a hobby. You're not looking to just have another random distraction for in terms of a platform that you're just posting on without really feeling like it's yielding results. And so if you're that kind of person, you're in the right space. So we're going to talk about how to use podcasting to grow your coaching business. Specifically, we're going to focus on the art of storytelling. Because one of the biggest things that I find when I'm helping clients with starting their podcast is the overwhelm in terms of what should I be talking about. There's a lot of decision fatigue. And majority of the clients that I work with, it's not a lack of ideas. It is too many ideas and not knowing how to make the decision on which topic to talk about on their podcast, right? And so if that's you, I'm gonna help you out, okay? Because one of the biggest things that helps us to be able to sell our services through our podcast is actually storytelling. And it doesn't have to always be your story because I know that I'm talking to people who have been in business for quite a while. And while you understand the power of your story, you also have moved beyond that chapter of your life. And so you probably are getting to that point where you're like, I don't actually want to keep dredging up a version of me that no longer exists. And so you're looking for a fresh way to be able to help people to build trust with you without having to constantly, again, go back to an old version of you. And so today, we're going to talk about the solution to that through storytelling. And so, of course, we know the power of storytelling. Storytelling is super helpful in terms of helping people to be able to trust us, to be able to feel like they understand that we can help them. So, in marketing, we talk about those three key factors of like, know, and trust. And storytelling builds all three of those, right? When we can see ourselves and other people, because that's how the mind works, we trust them more, right? So that relatability factor that comes to storytelling is incredibly powerful when it comes to attracting high ticket clients through your coaching business. The other piece is know. When we feel like the other person, not only like we feel like we know them because we know their story, but we also feel like they know us and they get us. And that feeling of like, okay, they won't judge me because they've been where I've been is a big um, way of building trust. And so we know why storytelling is important. However, let's talk about how do you tell a different type of story now that you are, you're a veteran in this coaching business game. So, one of the key stories that you want to tell on your podcast is the stories of your clients. You want to talk about their journey. One, because again, it does the same thing that your story would do. It helps your audience to be able to see themselves through the work that you do in your business. It helps them to be able to feel like they know and understand the services that you offer and how you do what you do. And that builds trust. And so there are 4 things that you really want to talk about when it comes to your client stories. You want to talk about where they were when they first decided to work with you, right? Maybe talk about the kind of conversation that you had on that discovery call or on the DMs and social media. What were the things that they were identifying as the pain points in that current chapter of their journey, right? And it doesn't matter if this is a client from 5 years ago, 5 months ago. It just matters that this is your target audience who you want to and get more of today. So think about the people that you've worked with that have been like an absolute dream, that have gotten the results that you intended to in your service. They are just like top tier. That is the story you want to tell, because you want to attract more of those type of clients because they're out there. So you want to talk about where they were when they first encountered you. What were they struggling with? How did they describe it? And this is why I think that using your client stories is so important, is because the language that they are using in this current chapter of their journey is going to match what your new clients are searching online. And as we know, this is why I advocate so highly for podcasting, is podcasting uses, Google, right? So if you create a podcast episode about, let's just say job stress, right? Because you're a career coach. When people are going online and searching for ways of dealing with burnout, because that's what your episode is about, you may pop up in that search, right? So when you use core language that your customers and clients are using to describe their situation, you have a more likely chance of showing up in that search engine, the Google options. And so that's really important. This is why, again, going through your client stories is such a pivotal thing in terms of being able to become a well-known person in your industry through podcasting. So where were they when they met you? How do they describe their struggle? And then you want to also talk about, what did they try before they met you? Because we all know, we've been there because we've invested in coaching, where we tried a Band-Aid solution for an open wound and we wasted so much time. But that's important because that's what we know as objections in the marketing industry, right? So what did your client try before they met you? What were the Band-Aid solutions that they attempted to be able to cover up this open wound with? What services they try, what free options they try before investing. So talk about that as well. And then you want to talk about, what did you see change? What did you see shift? Oh my goodness, as a result of them working with you. And 3 areas that I feel like often come up when it comes to coaching is either a mindset shift, there's a momentum shift, or there's a money shift, right? And so when I say mindset, I mean like there's a way of thinking. Maybe they now see more possibilities now. Maybe they are able to see the options in front of them now. They have a renewed sense of hope. Whatever mindset shift that you can name, that's also important. Belief systems that changed. But then there's also money. So sometimes as a result of different changes they make in their lives, their money shifts. And so you could be a financial coach and have money results, but also sometimes when people get their health together, all of a sudden their confidence increases and their money changes. It's very interesting what's interconnected in this life. But then also momentum. So maybe what had taken them 3 years, they've been sitting on for 3 years, they were able to do in 6 weeks, which is an example that I would use in my program, right? So I help women who own coaching businesses to be able to start podcasts as a way to be able to reach more people, grow their audience, and generate more leads for their business. And so it takes people on average, oh my goodness, months. Sometimes it's like 3 to 6 months. It can even be a year that people are sitting on podcast ideas. So I can say, in 6 weeks, they were able to do something that they've been sitting on for years or months, right? So that is also a shift that we can name. So that's one thing. So that's a momentum shift. And then you also want to use that time as a way to be able to paint the picture of the solution that you offer. This is where you plug in your service and how what you do help them to be able to get those results, create that shift in their life. And so that is how you would tell a client story as a way of selling your service. So you see how like it leads into the sale, but it also spends a significant amount of time helping your audience see themselves in that story. So there's a strategic way that we do it. But again, this is what's super powerful about podcasting is because it's a long form of content. Not only can you, have a episode that can really transform someone's life, in terms of their thinking about what's possible, again, in terms of educating them on what you do in a way that sticks with them because you have more time to really go through the impact that you have through the services that you offer. But you also have the ability to get that content onto multiple platforms. So one of the biggest things that I talk about with clients and work through is like their repurposing strategy, because that's really powerful. Because child, we all know that there are so many different things that we have to do to market our business. We have our emails that we keep up with to keep our people who have said yes to us up to date on what we're doing, educating them on the offers that we have. And so you can literally plug in those podcast episodes into your monthly newsletter, and then boom, that's done. Whew, let's take a breath together because we know how them emails can be stressful. And so I love that podcasting can be a way of simplifying our marketing, but also, again, elevating our marketing because now we're able to be found by more people. Because again, podcasting uses search engines like Google, and you can also repurpose them podcast episodes onto YouTube, and then that's more people and more people. So I hope that you're beginning to see how podcasting can help you to be able to grow your coaching business, elevate your brand in a very simplified way. And so if you are like, okay, I love this, I need more of this, help me figure out how to plan my podcast. If you need more of that directed wisdom and expertise and guidance, I would invite you to register for the Plan Your Podcast workshop, where I'm going to walk you through creating your own personal plan for how you're going to leverage podcasting to grow your coaching business. And I walk you through my framework for how we attract the right audience who's willing to pay us well for our services. And so converting your listeners into paying customers. So you can click the link below to find out more about that. Go ahead and register for the upcoming workshop. I'm excited to see you there. And that kind of concludes our episodes for today, or our conversation for today. And I look forward to seeing what you come up with. Also, if you have taken the challenge of going ahead and figuring out which stories to tell on your podcast, I want you to drop below challenge accepted, so that I can hold you accountable to the fact that you said you now going to start this podcast and you have some episode ideas. So can't wait to see what you come up with. Thanks so much for hanging out.